But first, I want you, first and foremost, this entire month, especially this time between eclipses, is to guard your precious eclipse energy. We kind of lead ourselves through this mess. We're also paving a way for the rest of the country, because when they start freaking out, they're going to need kind of like an energetic path that's been carved for them. And the more we mind our energy and what we're doing with it right now is critical. I can't impress upon you enough. And Donald is really wasting his energy. I can tell you that. And so remember this. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about this eclipse, I know there's a lot of energy out there, and people very worried about July 4th and what could happen because of the solar eclipses. And believe me, yes, myself included, because
And the nature of eclipses. This new moon solar eclipse over Washington, D.C. has the sun and the moon conjunct at 10 degrees Cancer in the ninth house, which is the house of long distance travel. When I laid the tarot cards around the horoscope, Donald drew the card of Eight of Wands, which is fast moving news. We, the people, drew the tarot card, the King of Swords, which happens to be Mueller. So the tone that this eclipse set has to do with fast-moving news and communications regarding the Mueller report, especially as it originates from overseas. Now, not only does that really set the tone for the summer in Washington, D.C., eclipse energies, they're lasting. It doesn't mean just because it happened this day that that's the only time that something might happen. No, that's the point at which the new energies, I like to call them like a new electrical fault line that's kind of programmed deep into our Earth's crust beneath our feet. And so whenever that fault line is activated, things move forward. They spring ahead because they're so jolting in nature. And you know what? The earthquakes in California are a direct result because of the eclipses, because there was so much energy pent up and tied into that eclipse that I was not even surprised that those earthquakes happen. But anyway, so when that eclipse, those fault lines are triggered, say like in a month or 2 months, 3 months even, like when the sun hits certain angles or Mars triggers them, you will see sudden action moving forward, and it's just nothing can stop it. And these eclipses are lasting. So if there was a lot of energy in DC around July 4th and what people might be concerned about, it's still active. It's still primed for months to come. Okay, the other thing about this eclipse we have to look at is the eclipse path and how it touches South America. Looking at the red line, the heavier line, that's about where the peak eclipse path is, the totality. The lines, the orange line and the yellow line, that's where those areas are not completely covered by the eclipse. You know, it goes down to like 75% and like maybe 50% of how much that area is affected directly by the eclipse. But regardless, you have an eclipse going over any portion of land or your country of origin or where you live, it has major effects. And so solar eclipses are about new beginnings. This eclipse is going over Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Costa Rica, Panama. There are some major shifts happening in South America. We've heard a lot about Venezuela and Maduro, and Russia is there, China is there, and they are trying to like manipulate other countries like Bolivia. Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, another quote 6 Wands mob rigged election. There's an election that's being contested in Guatemala. Pompeo was in Colombia. He gave them like $92 million of U.S. money to supposedly help with cartels, wink, wink, during our shutdown, mind you. But so things are going to be changing in South America related to this eclipse, related to DC, absolutely 100%. And it has, being opposite Saturn and Pluto, expect things to change, and same with the authority of those governments. So in my mind, I hope this is true, that this is the beginning of the end of the 6 Wands mob in South America, Central America, and hopefully, yes, they will trace a lot of the provocations of migrants fleeing to the U.S. border back to all the propaganda and troll farms in the areas that are telling migrants on social media, if you bring your child to the United States of America, they'll set you free. That is a fact statement from the hearing they just had last week with Customs and Border Patrol officials, and why families were explaining they were bringing their children. They were promised freedom. This is a big ugly picture, and it's going to come to light. Okay, thanks for watching, you guys. The rest of this video is video number 122, and so you can see more in-depth details about what I explained from all this. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please click like and subscribe.